This is a three-part video. First off, why do people hate Rolex? Second, I'm going to talk about my personal experience with wearing a Rolex for the past 8 years. And third, is it actually worth your money? There's a lot of videos of people hating on Rolex out there. And there seems to be 5 main reasons that keeps coming back. And please, by all means, if you can think of another one, do share in the comments. I went not too long ago to a Montreal's AD, and I swear to you, the guy working at the Rolex counter could not give less of a shit about talking watches with me. I tried to have a conversation about the new Land Dweller because they had one in display, for display only, obviously. He literally just kept looking at his iPad, not completely ignoring me, but his short answers were giving me the vibes that I was bothering him. And I can somewhat understand because it must be frustrating to be a sales associate with nothing to sell. I guess if you don't have much to sell, you don't make much commission as well. And also, everybody comes for the same watches. I get it, it must be a little bit annoying, but at the end of the day, you're still in a customer service. Do you want me to come back in your store? At that point, I don't even understand why they keep that Rolex section open if they don't have nothing to sell. No watches you could buy at the store, not even lady size. The counters were completely empty, other than the models for display only that you could put your name on the list for. The wish list story. Oh, sorry. They call it now registering your interest towards a piece. This is now a wish list to be on the wait list. Because there's so many people wanting those watches, it's impossible to get into a Rolex boutique now and buy something. Or I guess you have to be very, very lucky, but most likely you'll be put on a wish list. You know, I think a lot of us don't really believe anymore that it exists. It seems to be a matter of the relationship you have with the AD or how they feel that day if they want to sell you a watch. And if you do wonder how I got mine, I got it before the show started. When I went to the AD, when I got this one, I had a choice of buying anything other than the Daytona. This one's been a unicorn for a while. But unfortunately, this time is over. I have a friend that showed up at my studio and he had a 41mm OP Tiffany blue dial. It was the first time I was seeing in the metal. I was impressed. It's a really good looking watch. And my friend's a very rich guy, so I started laughing and I asked him how much did he had to spend in order for him to be allowed to buy this. Bro, he told me that he spent over $100,000 in jewelry for his wife. How they master the art of making you feel special to give them your money is amazing to me. That takes us to the scarcity, the shortage of these watches. Or is there a shortage? Okay, so people say, depending on where you look, you're gonna see numbers that varies between 1 million and 1.5 million watches that Rolex produces in a year. The number I saw most often was 1.25 million. And there's approximately 1,400 to 1,600 Rolex ADs in the world. So if we divide the number of watches by the number of Rolex ADs, that gives us 781 watches per ADs per year. It's not that much. Rolex have 15 different collections available in a catalog, counting over 1,000 variation of all those watches. But obviously those ADs are not getting 781 watches of the popular models that most people want. What I've been told by a Rolex AD is they get what Rolex sends them. So it is said that Rolex makes between 20 and 40,000 Daytonas per year. Let's take 40,000. Divide that by 1,600 ADs. It's 25 Daytonas per ADs yearly. And obviously, there's so many people wanting those watches. The ADs could do what the hell they want with it. They're gonna sell it to someone that are gonna spend a lot of money there. Unless you're really charming and really lucky, maybe you'll get one at retail, but I haven't heard that in a long time. I really suck at math, and you know, if I made a mistake, please let me know if I'm not seeing something. I tried my best. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that if they would flood the market with millions of Daytonas and millions of Batman GMTs, I'm betting that most people wanting them now would not desire them anymore. Because I do think that part of owning these things is knowing that not everyone can have them. And of course, 100%, this is all marketing. They could produce as much as they want, but it wouldn't be luxury anymore and people would not want them anymore. Now the prices of these things, they're much more expensive now, 8 years after. So the Submariner two-tones 8 years ago was 18,000 Canadian. Now it's 24,000. That's an increase of roughly 33%. Divide that by 8 years. It gives you 4.125. So this model in particular went up 4% a year for the past 8 years. It's not that bad considering that a lot of stuff went up a lot more than 4% a year. Although I understand, 4% on thousands of dollars, it makes a big difference. But then again, I find it always a little bit funny when I hear people saying that these things are too expensive. That is what luxury is. It's not supposed to be cheap. But luxury is rarely good value for the price you pay for it. Yes, you do pay for better quality, but you're also paying a lot of money for the right to wear the name. And obviously, as long as people are willing to pay the price they ask for, well, they're gonna keep increasing their prices. Also, I think the gray market did not help at all for these huge price hike because people were willing to pay so much over retail. If we put ourselves in Rolex shoes, why wouldn't we charge more? But the gray market did cool down a lot. So it will be interesting to see where this is all going. Because I do think people are getting really tired of all these games. And I've seen videos about fake watches that people are saying that they are more accepted now because the super fake look and feel the same. But that's a complete other discussion. Okay, now the flex and the snobbyism of the ADs and people wearing Rolex. You know, I've seen a lot of comments hating on people buying Rolex because they just want to show how much money they have and that there are not real watch enthusiasts. I would say this is 80-20 in my experience. 80% of people buying Rolex is for the flex and 20% is not only a flex. Because you could say whatever you want. I think when you buy these things, there's a part of you that wants to show off, which is perfectly fine as long as you don't look down at people that don't like the same thing that you or that can't afford these things. It's okay to have expensive taste and hobby, but that does not make you better than anyone else. But I think the snobbyism around the brand is to be expected. It kind of comes with the territory of luxury. And I have to admit that when I go to these stores, I always feel a little bit out of place. But I'm not intimidated by snobbery. I don't really, you could be snob to me if you want. I don't really care. But what I've noticed is there's a lot of snobs that don't know shit about the watch that they're wearing other than it costs a lot of money. I always think it's super funny when I see a snobby rich prick with a 42mm gold sky dweller on his 5.5-inch wrist that doesn't even know how to set the watch. But it's shiny and it costs a lot of money. But at the end of the day, to each their own. You just do you, my friend, and that's what counts. So now here's my experience with wearing a Rolex for the past 8 years. Well, first off, I got this watch for my 40th birthday. I had been successful with my tattoo studio and it was a dream for me to have one of those. And I know a lot of people don't agree with the two-tone watches, they think they're tacky. I really don't care. You like what you like, my friend. I just happen to love two-tones. I think they have more character. And you know, that's a beauty in watch collecting. You like what you like and I like what I like, so we can discuss about different things. And why did I pick a Submariner instead of any other model? First off, the heritage. I'm a sucker for a good story. I admit it. How it looks, the dial is super legible. I love a date window. And third, just how it feels when you put it on your wrist. You feel that thing is built like a tank. And I'm not gonna lie to you that it's kind of fun when your watch spark a conversation with another watch enthusiast. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but if you're a watch enthusiast, I'm pretty sure you understand what I mean. Although if you're getting a Rolex thinking that everybody's gonna know what you have on your wrist, that people are gonna admire the great taste in watches you have, you are grossly mistaken, my friend. Nobody cares what you have on your wrist other than the 1% of people that knows about watches. And it's gonna attract three kinds of people. The ones that are impressed of how much this costs and are dreaming of having them. The ones that loves watches and they're gonna want to talk about it with you. And the ones that knows how much it costs and they're gonna want to flirt with you. It's not supposed to turn both ways. That bezel stopped clicking about 6 months after I got the watch. I popped the bezel and the clicker was broken. I have no clue how that happened. But I never got it fixed because it takes months before you get it back. And you may think that this would fall into the 5 years warranty, but it's not. And the minimum service fee is between $700 and $1,000 USD for a Rolex Submariner. But I have to admit that doesn't bother me. It's not going anywhere. I'm not gonna lose it. And I'm just gonna wait for the 10-year mark. I'm gonna have it serviced and they're gonna change that at the same time. It does keeps good time, but it's not perfect. It is a mechanical watch after all. If you want perfection, just stick with a quartz watch or your phone. Another thing that I think it's really amazing, random people asking you if it's real or fake. Don't do that. Or the contrary, you're gonna have people asking you, wow, how much is that worth? When you don't know someone, don't ask them straight up how much their watch is worth. It's not polite. Sometimes you will find yourself in situations where it's better to take off your watch and put it in your pocket. Whether you're in a social setting where it's not appropriate for you to be wearing such an expensive watch, or find yourself in a situation where it could be dangerous and you could get mugged or something. And unfortunately, now you have to pay attention about your surroundings when you're wearing a luxury watch. Some places in the world more than others, but you have to be careful. So is this worth your money? Well, to be honest, that's for you to decide. It's an objectively good product and it will get you attention if that's what you're seeking. Like any luxury item, it's overpriced and it's hard to get at retail. I always say that half the price is the watch and the other half is the name on the dial. I can honestly say that every time I wear this, it makes me feel the same way that it did when I tried it the first time 8 years ago. It makes me feel good. It reminds me of someone that my younger self never thought I could become. I always say you could aspire to material things. That's fine. It's not a bad thing. But make sure that these things don't define the person you are. In my opinion, the hate should not be directed towards Rolex. It should be directed towards us. Because at the end of the day, if we don't want these things, if we don't desire these things, we won't care and won't get mad if we can't get one. And we won't care about the tactics that the company uses to sell these things. And there's so many amazing watches other than Rolex out there. This has been my daily for months now. Speedmaster on the leather strap. I'm just in a second honeymoon phase with that one. But if your mind is set on getting the 5-pointed crown on your wrist, nothing will ever replace it. So, you know what you have to do. Please tell me in the comments what was your Rolex AD experience. And what's your favorite brand? What watch are you wearing right now? Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. And as always, I'll speak to you in the next one.